Hey everyone, another day, another retro gaming handheld, with this one being Anbernic's RG35XX Plus. The 35XX Plus looks very similar to its predecessor, the RG35XX, but comes with a beefier processor that can handle all the way up to some, but far from all, of the Dreamcast and PSP catalogues, and features both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth wireless capabilities, amongst a bump-up in RAM and some control improvements. So the RG35XX Plus utilises the all-winner H700 CPU, has a 4-fold RAM increase from its predecessor at 1GB of DDR4 RAM. It's still got a 3.5-inch IPS screen at a 640 by 480 resolution, which, to be fair, is still not bad at all. It's got a bigger battery to give the bump up in CPU more power, with a 3300 mAh battery, and only weighs a little bit heavier at around 180 grams, as well as being a little bit thicker than its predecessor. So, in terms of first impressions, the RG35XX Plus is certainly familiar, with its relatively difficult to spot, at least from the front, at first glance, any differences between its predecessor. The differences do become apparent though with closer inspection, with a slightly heavier weight and thickness to it, among some changes to the controls that I'll cover shortly. However, this all goes to say that the build quality is quite good all round, with it easily being able to survive the odd drop or toss around the living room, which makes it a great carry around handheld or one for the kids to just pick up and play. In terms of controls, they're not bad at all. The D-pad and face buttons are largely the same, but have a few subtle curves added to help with ergonomics of the device. This is easily seen within the shoulder buttons, which now have a built-up curve to them, and now much easier to press purposely compared to the flat shoulder buttons of its predecessor. The D-pad is still slightly curved compared to the predecessor too, which makes it less rough in terms of having a tactile feel, but still remains a well-pivoted D-pad and isn't bad in terms of resistance. And although the centre circle is still a little deep for my personal liking, it's not a bad D-pad by any means. The face buttons of the RG35XX Plus are great. They've got a great size to them and feel near identical to the predecessor, which isn't a bad thing by any means. They've got a really good level of resistance to them and are easy to both press and button match depending on the game. In terms of firmware, it has a very similar feel than the original, but has been slightly improved and thankfully gives you the ability to jump into RetroArch and use some of the wireless features like retro achievements, which is great. There's also a game room section which gives you a limited number of options via default emulators, which I guess isn't too bad for newcomers, but the RetroArch section is definitely where you're able to get the most out of the system, particularly when it comes to wireless features. Overall though, the stock feature isn't too bad at all, and certainly far better than its predecessor. And although it isn't quite perfect and can be slightly confusing thanks to both the games room and RetroArch areas, it isn't actually too bad at all. So I'll jump into some emulation footage very shortly, but this has all been captured within the RetroArch area, and then I'll come back to summarise back up at the end. So, all in all, Anbernic's RG35XX Plus is a decent improvement over its predecessor, and that comes with enhanced performance, improved controls, better stock firmware, while all keeping the solid build quality which ultimately makes an easy retro gaming handheld to recommend. So, that's all it for now. Thanks so much for watching.